It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And welcome to Car Con Carne, out of the car in the brewery, Sketchbook Brewery in Skokie, 4901 West Main Street. This brewery will be the site. This will be the location for PravdaFest. It's happening in June. It is happening on June 24th, June 25th. 2 nights of music celebrating the 38th anniversary of Pravda. And as we talk about Pravda, it is only right, it is only fair, it is only just that I'm talking to Kenn Goodman, to my right, if you're watching, and also Rick Mosher, who are the foundation, the bedrock of Pravda Records, a venerable Chicago label, an institution, and a label strong enough to deliver a 2-day festival at Sketchbook in Skokie. Let's start there. I want to cover Pravda history, but let's start there. June 24th, it is 4 artists. It is Boom Hank. That album, Nuisance, came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
Why didn't the world fall in love with that? Because I still love that record.
I don't know, because I do too. And I love the source of their name, too. You know where they got their name?
No.
I don't either. No. No, it was during a replacement show. Paul Westerberg walked up to the microphone to introduce one of their songs, and all that came out was, Boom Hank. He was that messed up. So, true story. So that's where they got their name.
I love that.
Unless Stump was making that up for me, but I love that story. So,
Also on the bill, Hushdrops, a band that's been on Car Con Carne before, will be on Car Con Carne again. Talk about Pop Smarts. That last album of theirs is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a classic Chicago band.
Classic.
With classic songwriting from John San Juan. And it's kind of a pop masterpiece, I think.
It really is. I should cheers. We're at Sketchbook. We're drinking
cheers.
beer.
Sketchbook, yes. Great beer.
Cheers. I want to thank them for the hospitality. This will be the green room for PravdaFest. So we are sitting in the green room right now.
It's a beautiful green room.
It is beautiful. Well, there are cans. I hope people can get a sense. There are cans that go floor to ceiling here. This is like paradise.
Yeah, it's a beer lover's paradise.
Yeah, we've arrived. Also on that Friday, the 24th, Steve Dawson. Talk about Chicago institutions. This guy.
Another amazing songwriter that put out a amazingly crafted album last year.
And then there's Josh Caterer.
Yeah. From the Smoking Popes, his solo
and from the
records.
Car Con Carne theme song.
Yeah.
Also a classic.
did not know that.
It's true.
Cool.
Josh Caterer, who went solo with his band, also featuring John San Juan.
Yeah, we share members in Pravda.
Yeah, why not? That's a very Chicago thing, very incestuous. You kind of...
Yeah, everybody's got to be in 3 or 8 bands at a time.
Let's talk a little bit about Josh Caterer, because I think this is definitely a draw on that Friday. Those 2 albums recorded at Space and the Hideout, stunning. So it's him doing a bunch of standards, reworked versions of a couple Smoking Pope songs. What were your expectations when you agreed to throw in with Josh and put these records out?
Well, I kind of agreed to do it sight unheard. I just, he had this concept, and he brought it to me, and it was during the pandemic, obviously. He was going to go into the club, set up a live recording, no audience, and let it roll, and do his set. And I respected him enough where I'm like, I know it's going to be good, and I know that I know that what his concepts are with the songs, and I love the concept, and I'm a Smoking Popes fan from way back, so I'm like, let's do it. And then he delivered it, and then we did that record, and then he said, I'm going to do it again at Space, and he delivered another one, which he brought in the horns, Total Pro horns, he brought in
his daughter
to sing, and it's amazing.
That duet is spectacular.
Yeah, they do a couple duets, and Max Crawford did the horn arrangements, which he will be here playing with also that night with the band. So it's pretty excellent.
Saturday, the 25th, PravdaFest in Skokie at Sketchbook. It is the Handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
This is a band we've all seen live. They always kill it. One of the most celebrated drummers.
Brad Elvis.
Uh-huh.
Plays in the Romantics, played in Big Hello, played, a legend. Elvis Brothers.
Saw them open for the Clash at the Aragon Ballroom.
Get out.
Yeah, we were there.
What tour was that? Was that Combat Rock? Was that...
Yeah, it must have been Combat
I'd say
Rock.
it was 1984.
Yeah, so it was something, you know.
They were like,
So
oh, the Elvis Brothers opening for the Clash.
Yeah, it was like a special surprise guest.
And people liked them, which, you know, it's hard to open for the Clash.
Oh my God! I
Very
can't
hard to
imagine.
pull off.
I
But
can't
yeah, they
imagine.
did it. They rocked it.
Diplomats of Solid Sound, the pride of Iowa, coming back to the area for a show.
Amazing soul band. Yeah.
This, I'm not sure there's enough space at Sketchbook to fit the entire band. They're going to try to make room to fit the band on stage.
Yeah, there's like 46 members in
40
the band.
I'm not sure.
Huge horn section.
I'm not convinced. I'm not a member. There are so many people.
You'll be on stage.
You know,
You'll be there.
after a couple of beers, everyone's going to be on stage.
But Diplomats of Solid Sound, what a fun band.
Yeah,
It-
they're one of those like bands you don't think they're from Iowa because they don't have that typical Iowa sound maybe that you would think of for indie rock. It's more like a classic soul band.
classic soul band. And like I said to them when I interviewed them a few weeks ago, like if you don't find yourself moving to that music, there's something fundamentally wrong with you genetically. There's no avoiding moving your body to that music. The Slugs. This to me is the surprise appearance of the entire weekend. This is something I never thought we'd see happen in our lifetime.
Nobody did.
Tell me about the Slugs, because I've told Doug Julin this a million times. I have distinct memories doing college radio in Lawrence, Kansas, playing Clock That Won't Stop, early Slugs track. To me, they helped shape my understanding of what Chicago and Midwestern independent music was. So tell me about your history with the Slugs. I guess talk about the Slugs.
Okay. Well, the Slugs were one of the first signings on Pravda back in, I think, '87. We put out a single first that they recorded for us. They did one single on Sus Tones, and then they made the switch to Pravda. We were local. We were kind of running into each other at the Metro. A couple of them worked at the Pravda Record store, and we run into each other and at the what was that Wednesday night thing they had there?
Rock Against
Rock
Depression.
Against Depression. 3 bands. It was like $3.
Yeah, it was
became
cool.
a big deal because there would be 1,000 people showing up for these things. So the Slugs would play, the Service would play, Green at the time was on the label, the Farmers, all these early Pravda bands. We would do like Pravda nights. So anyway, before that, I just started talking to Doug and Mike, the drummer, and who actually became our booking agent, it was one of the first bands we signed, and they did the Nonstop Holiday record, and we did it on vinyl and cassette back in we didn't know what CDs were, and
They didn't really have CDs.
no.
Yeah.
So we did vinyl and we did cassettes, and it did well. The band went on tour quite a bit back in the day. Got in the van and went on tour, and it was a pretty successful record for us for the time.
Doug and Greg Julin,
Yeah, they're brothers.
they're brothers. There's a little bit of a corrosiveness to the two of them.
Like all great brother bands.
Fair enough.
You never know. Will it be a fist fight? Will it be a great show?
Well,
Usually both.
we're hoping for a lot of love. Let's bring the love.
And
Enough
maybe a
time has elapsed that I would
little
assume.
fist fight would be cool. But
No, it wouldn't be cool.
No,
all
it
double
wouldn't be
fun.
cool.
Not at Sketchbook in Skokie, 4901 Main Street.
So wait, the thing is, I just kind of contacted them. I said, I really want you to do this gig. I think it'd be terrific if you guys kind of headline Saturday night. The return of the Slugs, and eventually they talked to each other, and they also thought it'd be a joyous occasion. So we kind of brokered a deal, and they
You
worked
brokered
it
a
out.
historic peace accord.
Yeah, we
is what
did a
you
peace accord with the Slugs, and we eventually actually had a rehearsal, and I think it went really well.
Did they play Whatever? I love Whatever.
I'm sure we'll do all the hits.
I love all their songs.
I wasn't at the rehearsal.
So many great
So many great
hooks
songs.
and
Just
it's
great songwriters.
Great
Okay,
stuff.
so the other band playing on Saturday the 25th is The Service, and let's get into it. The Service was your band, started in the 1980s. You started this band, and because you needed a way to get the word out there, you built the label around The Service.
Basically, yeah. I mean, we were college roommates. We started a band initially called BB and the Guns at Northern Illinois University, and we met in the dorms.
That was a new wave band, in case you were wondering.
We were new wavers.
We were new wavers.
We wore makeup.
We had the makeup. We had the synths.
I played synthesizers, and I wore eyeliner. It was a lot of fun.
It was high new wave. 1981.
Skinny ties,
Of course.
Yeah. That's what you did.
Wacky clothes. We used to shop at Wax Tracks, like the upstairs part where you buy the clothes.
Right.
Wax Tracks, in my childhood, the loudest place in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh,
when
yeah,
you visited
yeah.
there.
We started that band, and then that kind of we kind of wanted to do something different.
We went through phases where we would want to be the Psychedelic Furs. Then we would want to, or me at least.
I get
Then
it.
we would want to be Big Country, and then we would want to be
Sex Pistols.
REM after. Yeah, and so there was always some band that we were sort of emulating, and we sort of went through phases. Yeah.
So we eliminated having a female singer, and then we got another singer.
We didn't eliminate her. She
kind of left the
that
band.
sounds terrible. She left on her own.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't eliminate her. She left because she had a track scholarship, and we were like starting to want to be on the road. Mm-hmm. So, but we still are really good friends with her and everything. And then we became the Service. Actually, we became Secret Service first, and then we became the Service, and then we became a four-piece eventually. But so we wanted to make cassettes like back then. Let's release a cassette.
Mm-hmm.
Of the band.
Cassette EP.
So we went into the studio, recorded, and
Five songs.
we're going to release this 5-song cassette. And we like, okay, what's the name of the record label? We're like, Pravda, because we were reading a lot of Kurt Vonnegut.
There was something that said Pravda
College
is
students.
the
Untold
it was a
truths.
very
Yeah.
like truth. Anyway, so in our addled brains, this was a great name. But since the years have gone by, no one ever spelled it or said it right, and it's pretty funny. You got it.
Yeah, half our mail says Pravda,
Pravda,
Pradata.
We had a collection on our wall of all the various
Incorrect spellings of the label.
believe it.
Yeah,
But,
good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I took some scratch, like rub type, and I came up with a logo. Like, this is before computers.
Electroset.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let me scratch off
On the
this
kitchen table.
font, and it was all crackly. I'm like, that's the logo.
Yeah.
And we put it on the cassette, and then we released it, and then we went on the road, and we were like, oh, we have a band and we have a label, and then we recorded 4 more songs, and we delved into pressing up vinyl, and we didn't really exactly know what we were doing, but I started researching. Okay, how do I press vinyl?
It was literally
Which
a kitchen table thing. Yeah.
Back then, I mean, I'm sure there was a fair amount of reresearch to do because the information wasn't all there at your
There's
fingertips.
no
I mean,
internet.
there's no
None.
guidebook.
And it was
anywhere.
really expensive too
bet.
for us, at least, and involved, and so many mistakes you could make.
Yeah,
and,
so we found a pressing plant in St. Louis called United, and we literally we got them all with the things they needed for the jacket and the record, and when they were done, we drove down there and picked them up in the van. We're like,
Yeah.
we're going to get them.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to pay
Sorry,
ship. You don't want to pay shipping on that.
So it was a record called Zebu, and that was our foray into releasing vinyl.
Yeah.
And then we went back on the road, and we were like, we had this record. So we're like,
But you have that. But there's the thing where you finally get the record that the music you've been playing and nurturing, and then you record it, and then you finally come to that end point when you're holding this record, right? And I mean, maybe it might not mean exactly the same thing now, but back then it was like,
not everyone could make a record.
I'm like Aerosmith, man.
Yeah,
right.
We all have records
we
now.
We have the vinyl.
Yeah, and it immediately lifted you up to a certain level of rock bandness.
It's a professional move.
Where
You're a
right.
professional
It's also
musician. You have something on vinyl.
Super ego.
It was something you could
based.
send around the world for reviews.
Yeah.
And for people.
Yeah.
And you sent it to the radio stations for airplay, which back then there was a huge college network, college station network that played like indie records.
And our first full-length record, America's Newest Hitmakers, and we'll be playing a lot of those songs, actually. We just had a little rehearsal, me and Kenny, and so we went through some of the old, like Time Was and 10 Miles and all these songs that, are part of our, lore, kind of. But we did this record, and it got reviewed in a Melody Maker in England.
Huge.
And there were stories about us in Germany.
And the guy liked it. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I read it 1,000 times.
I bet.
They were printing our picture in Germany, and we didn't even know what they said. It was in German. Like,
Right.
Yeah, that was funny.
They
Yeah.
can't hate us. They put in our picture.
Yeah, it had to be good.
So we got we. Yeah. Whatever Schlecht means, that's what we were. So it was good. No, so that experience of having our work go out, into the world.
Oh, yeah.
Was intoxicating. Really amazing. It still is, but.
Did you guys know you had an entrepreneurial spirit?
Yes.
Besides being musicians, did this just kind of codify that?
Ken was the driving force in that regard, but yeah, we were both of a mind, I think.
I mean, I've always, I decided when I was 12 years old I'm going to be in the music business, but I was.
Someday you will be too.
One day I'm going to join the music business. But I'm a musician. I started out as a musician, but I just always I want to figure out the business end of things, figure out how it works. And I decided that really young because I was always in a band and no one really knew how a lot of the stuff worked.
Right.
So I'm like, someone has to figure this out. Someone has to figure out how to book a band, how to record a band, how to manage a band, and it sort of always fell in my direction, the business part of things. And then I actually got a job at a record distributor in high school called Baker Taylor. I
remember, sure.
They had a huge warehouse, and I would walk around and pick orders for record stores after school.
What a dream gig for a high school kid.
Oh man, everyone's buying Pink Floyd The Wall. What's going on? It was like every order was 10 Pink Floyd The Walls and then Tom Petty. So you'd get a thing from Record City or all these other record stores, and you'd go pick the records off the huge warehouse shelves and put them in boxes, and then you just kind of looked at all the records going, oh, this is amazing. And then I ended up in that business, which is
started young.
For sure you started young. So you put out the service music. What was the first non-you band that you signed?
So we would go to Iowa a lot. We had gigs in Iowa all the time. And we would meet Iowa bands. I think it was the Shy Strangers.
Shy Strangers, Claude Pate.
Which is Doug from the Diplomats of Solid Sound. And then there's a band from Ames called Claude Pate, who both played gigs with us in various clubs in Iowa, Ames, Iowa City,
and
Davenport.
they sent us their tape,
We're like,
as you do.
You guys have a label. We're like, yeah. And then they would send us their music, and because I just said, I'll put out your record.
But we were all very much at the same level of, playing shows to whoever might come, sometimes no one, sometimes 50 or 60 people, playing for very little money. We were all kind of in the same mindset and the same culture. So to have
things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. So, but they and so we were friends and label mates. I think it's safe to say.
So we were just very friendly with bands because we were all, like you said, in the same scene, trying to get the same gigs, trying to get followings.
Same problems, same dreams, same stumbling blocks.
Same drinking problems. We were just,
Cheers.
Cheers.
All doing the same stuff. However, I would go home and figure out how to put out records by people.
And I would go home and try to write a hit song.
Yeah. So then I met a band in Des Moines called the Hollow Men, and they had a full-length record.
That was a cool
we
band.
thought was amazing.
Man, were they cool.
It's like really a gem of a record from 1988.
Yeah, man. They have a song called Never Ending Ceiling, which is it on? I don't think it's on that.
It is.
It is?
And then we put out a band
so cool.
from Lincoln, Nebraska we ran into called 13 Nightmares.
And they were amazing. That song, Angels Sleep, that's a great, I wasn't really into songs, so.
But listening to you guys, this is what people who run a record label should be, fans of music. You fans first.
We certainly weren't making money from it.
Well, there you go. But
Yeah, I was always business-minded, but it wasn't like, I got to make a ton of money off this record. I just
Yeah, we never really thought it was successful if it made or didn't make money, right? It would be nice, but basically airplay was really what made us feel noticed and successful at first. Like if we were on, because CMJ and maybe another one would come out with their list of who's playing
CMJ
what.
was college radio.
College Music Journal, right? And
Rock Pool.
Yeah, there's some basically trade organizations for college radio, and they would
Mm-hmm.
say who's playing what, and if one of our records showed up, it'd be very rewarding. But it didn't really mean we were selling any records. College radio did not turn into sales.
No, it still doesn't.
Does it help with touring though?
Yeah, well, with word of mouth, sure. Yeah, gets people excited or introduces
When you go
them.
on tour, you set up interviews in radio stations, and it sometimes helps get people a little excited
Yeah.
in the college towns that are listening to college radio. But mainly it's for the bands to keep them like thinking that things are happening.
It matters to go to and we would have often we would do an interview and be like, that was a great interview, and they'd be like, yeah, well, we only broadcast to the dorms. It's a 5-watt radio station, but you guys are really sweet to come.
Yeah, we're like, okay, that was fun.
Well,
I
it was
remember
still
doing
fun.
radio interviews. Now I do them in the back corners of breweries.
We've come a long way.
We have come a long way.
I think breweries are more enjoyable.
Oh my God, about 1,000,000 times more.
They give you like one free beer per
You
interview.
got your free beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's almost gone. We're recording this on a very hot day.
It is
the
hot.
hottest day of the year so far in the
Yes.
Chicago area. So
We're drinking cold beer though.
we're this cold beer from Sketchbook is
There's
key.
no warm glug here.
Really good beer at Sketchbook. What is this? The Insufficient Hazy IPA. It's very tasty.
They have percentages to accommodate every drinker's needs here. I think the amber is the safest, and there's like an 11% somewhere on there. I forgot.
Yeah. The service would have liked that.
Were your parents proud when you finally said, "Hey, we're going to join the service"?
I did register for the selective service, and then I joined. Yeah.
We dropped out of college to really go all in and moved to Chicago. We were in DeKalb, Illinois, and NIU, and we
Yeah,
dropped
the
out.
label, we had a P.O. box in DeKalb.
Yeah.
And we'd go check it every day for our, various mail orders. And then we're making the big move. We're moving to Rogers Park.
Yes.
Yep. Look out, Rogers Park. Here we come.
This label is going to kick ass in Rogers Park. And we moved. We all got an apartment off of Devon, and the label was started being run out of the apartment on Devon, Devon and Francisco.
If you're picturing all of us in one apartment,
I am.
You can, yeah. It
I
was
am
like
Devon
that.
and Francisco. I'm trying to.
It's like an Indian neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I know exactly.
Yeah, but we were really happy, of course, all living together and having our parties
Oh yeah.
and our good times.
You were
yeah.
living the American dream.
Yeah.
It's the American
We
rock
were.
and roll band dream. We had a
American
van,
boy
we had
dream.
an
You did.
apartment, we had a record label, and we had a telephone, and we were able to.
Yeah.
So how and when did the record store start?
That was 1986. After we moved to Chicago, I thought I should open a record store to supplement the label and the operation.
This is the entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
we were
this
just
is
talking
my
about.
big dream. So
I thought he was nuts, but
I found a location in the metro. There was a storefront that they were the guy that had the store was leaving. It was called 99th Floor. So I immediately called Joe Shanahan and Joe Prino, who owned the metro. I'm like, I want to rent that spot. I want to open a record store, and I'm ready to go whenever you are. And they're like, that's a great idea. And they gave me the spot. It was like a very quick and agreeable situation. And they just came up with how much it was going to cost. And then I borrowed a bunch of money. And
As you do.
I opened Pravda Records, the retail outlet. And then from that, we were able to have daily cash flow, sort of, and fund the label a little more. And then we opened an office on, originally the office was on the other side of Metro. There was another storefront.
teeny weeny little
But
storefront
they
with
didn't
blackened
have
windows.
heat.
Yeah.
It was a very small, so we said, we found an office on Southport that had a heater, and we rented that before Southport became a popular area. It was a little run down. It was cheap. And we rented this storefront office, and it had a basement where bands practiced. And there's a guy living behind us named Carl, who didn't mind loud music, and he didn't
Forgot
mind
about Carl.
He didn't mind any of the stuff we were doing, because
He wasn't really dialed in.
like Urge Overkill would be rehearsing in the basement,
Right.
and all these bands, and he was just like, that sounds pretty
How you
good.
guys doing? Yeah,
So we had a
wow.
great setup until that area became highly gentrified and we got removed.
As you talk about these moments, Urge rehearsing in the basement, I keep coming back to, depending on the guest, that moment in time in Chicago, which for people who weren't there from the outside is kind of perceived as Camelot, like this magical, wonderful time when things like that were happening. Is that accurate, or was it just you were doing what you did?
Well, we were doing what we did, just like people now are doing what they do. I mean, for us, it was pretty magical.
I do remember, though, there was sort of a golden age of Chicago alternative music with Smashing Pumpkins,
Sure.
Urge Overkill, Material Issue.
Liz
Sure,
Fair.
I'm forgetting a million of them. Yeah, I mean,
There was that level of things happening.
Seether Band.
Yeah,
Veruca
Salt.
Salt.
But then there was the level of the bands like the Slugs,
The
the
drop
Service.
off to where we were that weren't really getting the attention of the crowds.
Well, we would play the West End and the Cubby Bear and the Lounge Acts.
And we knew those guys partly because they came into the store.
Oh, yeah,
to
of
stock
course.
the records. Like
course.
Jim Ellison would come in like, hey man, why aren't my records up here in the front? And he'd, like,
Jim Ellison of
physically-
Material
of
Issue.
Material Issue, carry all his records up and put them in the front because that's how he always was. So we were
embedded in the scene.
we were really a part of it
because
without being famous.
People
or
wanted to
popular.
be in our store because they would play Metro, and then
Sure.
after they're done playing, people would buy their records.
Right.
Like it was a really good outlet
It really was.
for
Or bef-
national bands and local bands.
Or
Sure.
before they played, they would do a record signing or just come in and check their, do a meet and greet kind of. So yeah, I mean, everyone from Gigi Allen to Gene Loves Jezebel, like literally came into our store and talked and hung out and all that. So
Nick Cave actually worked the register after his show.
he did. Celtic Frost came in and
my
were
God.
like singing along to their records, and I don't know, it was crazy. Like Iggy Pop and
All right,
Duran
this
Duran
does,
played
this
there.
does sound like
and-
Camelot to me.
Yeah,
I
they
gotta
would-
be
they
So
honest.
would
yeah,
all-
maybe it was a little bit.
Pete Buck came in and he was thrilled to see the Green REM single. So he was like, oh.
You might want to explain that just a little bit.
This
So-
is like music
not
history.
too much
This
in
is-
the weeds. I
Okay,
hope, but-
well, REM released a record called Green, an album. So at the time, Green was on the label, so we released a 7-inch called REM. And
I knew this story, but it's still funny
it
to
was
hear
funny
it
at
said
the
out
time.
loud.
At least,
it was funny, and then Pete Buck came in, and he thought it was funny, and bought a bunch of them. And, we got pictures of him holding
That's
this little
amazing.
single that says Green REM.
This big goofy face.
And he was a big fan of the store because he would shop there whenever he came to town. He did, played at Metro and did all kinds of stuff over the years.
That's amazing. All right, so we're at Sketchbook on Main Street in Skokie. June 24th, June 25th, it is PravdaFest. It is an anniversary celebration. It is the 38th anniversary, which, as we know, is the most symbolic and important of all the anniversaries.
It's the beer can anniversary.
it's the
believe.
Yeah, that's when you make a beer. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But 35 was going to be the anniversary party, but there was that pesky pandemic that happened. I don't know if you heard about
No, I
it.
read about it, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded horrible.
It was really
35 is the epidemic.
really
kind of
weird. So
anniversary.
we said, let's do it at 38 because, 40's a long ways away.
we may not make it.
And let's just do it now in 38. And then we just kind of
There's
wrote
something
down
very
Pravda
Chicago about doing a 38th
38,
anniversary.
and we liked the way it looked. And then Sketchbook was very cooperative and said, yeah, let's do Pravda 38 beer. Let's have it here. And that's how it kind of came
I
together.
looked online because I don't know what you give someone for a 30th anniversary. Luck is what you're supposed to give someone on the 30th anniversry.
Is that true?
It is
Luck.
true. Luck. I don't know how you translate that to a gift other than cheers.
Good luck.
Have at it, guys.
Just send it our
Fingers
way.
crossed.
Send it our way.
A card, I guess. I don't know.
But that said, if luck is the anniversary present, I mean, you got to feel kind of lucky that we're here talking about Pravda 38 years after you guys started a band in a college dorm.
Honestly, I mean, we're lucky that we can get on stage and play the old songs that we, wrote and recorded in 1983, and they sound pretty good, actually, and we're all able to play them. So that's
That's pretty lucky.
I'll take that.
That's incredibly lucky.
And yeah, I feel lucky that the other bands that are playing we're all friends and enjoy each other's music and each other's company. So that's important.
Yeah, at one point there was a pretty healthy competition, I would say, between even us and the Slugs and so on.
Yeah,
but that's
it was
all
healthy.
gone now. We're fine.
And again, Friday the 24th, it is Boom Hank, Hushdrops, Steve Dawson, and Josh Caterer. Saturday the 25th, Handcuffs, Diplomats of Solid Sound, The Service, and The Slugs.
Awesome.
Either night's a winner. You should go to both.
I think both would be
Both.
the best thing to do.
And like you mentioned, Sketchbook is doing a Pravda 30th anniversary beer. That's fantastic.
I'll drink to
Yeah,
that.
there's a beautiful can coming out, and they're going to obviously have it here. But yeah, it's going to be a nice indie rock lager, as we call it.
As we talk about
Lager.
the artists who've been on the label, and you talked about that scene in Chicago with artists like Veruca Salt and Urge and Liz taking off. It seems to me that Pravda has never been a label to follow a trend or try to catch or jump on any train. You've just kind of followed your muse. And
Well, we did try to sign Veruca Salt. They said no.
Nicely.
We recorded
happened so quickly.
We recorded a song with them. They were going to be on a compilation, and then they realized they wouldn't even give us that.
So so the compilation, the 20 explosive hit explosions.
Volume 3.
Volume 3.
I'm like, I want Veruca Salt, and I kind of knew, the gals in the band, and they agreed to do it and everything. And
What
then
song were they going to do?
My Sharona,
that would be
which
freaking
they
awesome.
which they
eventually
did.
Yeah.
They did it, and then
That's
and then they got a manager.
Yeah.
it happens.
Immediately a day later, like, oh no, you're not giving that to Pravda. That's going on Gethin.
But these records that we did, and then I actually left the label shortly after these records came out, and Kenny went on, at the helm. But at that time, like 70s one-hit wonders, you really didn't hear them. I mean, this was before, but they were still very much like,
Yacht rock wasn't a
Trash.
genre, and it wasn't cool
right.
at
And
that
it's not
point.
like Brandy, which now I think maybe I'm wrong, but more people sort of remember. And
Oh my God, Local H just covered it.
Sure.
And they killed it.
Right, but back then, or Love Grows, My Rosemary Goes, something
Uh-huh.
like that, which we heard. We played with the Replacements in Tucson at a little club, and they played a third of that song, but it was just like, oh my God, I remember that from when I was 12, and it was really exciting and moving when they did it, a third of it, and then Bob Stinson asked me to buy him a beer, and then I think we partied with them.
Yeah, we went to some weird house.
And then the next 2 nights later, we were supposed to play with them in Oklahoma City. And we were trying to drive there, but then the physical wheel came off our van. It's driving on the highway. Like, I was driving, and it's all like, bam! And then the wheel, bounces. I can still see it, bouncing ahead of us over a hill. And then so we ground to a halt, and our brake drum dug this, huge, gnarly groove in the highway, a half a mile. And so we were screwed. We couldn't get to Oklahoma City. And then, but the Replacements, who are now kind of our friends, introduced, they said, at one point they're like, hey, we're the Surfaces from Chicago, right? But we know that because it's on the Shit Hit, can I say that? I said it. The Shit Hits the Fans, which is a legendary Replacements cassette-only bootleg. And I don't know what I was talking about, but that's one of our
I think you were edging us closer to the background of the K-Tel comps.
Yes, and so we heard those great songs,
I
and
bring
then
it all
we
back?
thought, right,
Yeah.
and then we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we try to get all these up and coming and kind of popular becoming bands like Smashing Pumpkins, Urge Overkill. I mean, can name
Material
more of them.
Issue and-
Material
yeah.
Issue. And try to get them to cover these 70s hits and put it out in this packaging that really mimicked the K-Tel smash hit explosions, with the big swirl and everything and the cartoon lettering. And that
I still
happened.
covet my CDs. I still covet those.
And that's all I wanted for Christmas when I was 10 or 11 is I want that K-Tel album that
I'm
I
talking
see
about the
on TV.
Pravda releases, but yes.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, well, right. And we were trying to obviously, do an homage to that. And
Which we did.
Yeah, it turned out so, it still makes me smile. It came out so cool. And we did 3 of them.
Yeah, the Slugs did "Hooked on a Feeling."
Yep.
It's still one of my favorite.
Ooga
Yep.
chaga, ooga,
and
ooga,
then
ooga chaga.
Sheer Accident did "Theme from Shaft." It's
Those guys are
mind blowing.
out of control.
And the Pumpkins did Jackie Blue.
Yeah,
which
Pumpkins. It was one of their
Yeah.
first ever recorded songs.
Yeah.
That they did. Billy was working at a record store on
Yeah.
Broadway. I just went over there. I'm like, "You want to do this song?" He's like, "Yeah."
Sure.
And
amazing. So The Pravda 38th anniversary, the fest. PravdaFest happens here at Sketchbook. There's so much we could cover, but we'll revisit the 38 years worth of history here at Sketchbook this summer. What a festival! This is an event. It's local, mostly local, independent music, Pravda Records. I've been a fan from the get-go. I really love that we can celebrate you guys and what you've done here in Skokie at the end of June.
Yeah, I grew up in Skokie, so it's going to be even more fantastic for me to do it in Skokie.
Then the Record City reference from earlier makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all comes back. That was my childhood. Every weekend, spending my
On
allowance
Oakton,
in
right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I went to. You mentioned Psychedelic Furs. I remember going.
We were
to,
there. For the in-store, I still have my signed talk.
Yep, there's the talk.
From that day, we both
I
went.
did too. Yeah,
And,
I'm like, he's like, Richard Butler's like, what should I write? I'm like, something about blue cars, man. He's the way he signed it.
I went to the Furs in-store.
He wrote "Into You Like a Train" in my record.
Train.
I went to the King Crimson in-store. They did an in-store for, I think it was 3 of a Perfect Pair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
It's a great store. That was my childhood.
Oh, me
I
too.
remember buying like tapestries. They had those like silk tapestries.
I
on
rode
the wall.
my bike there, at least once a week.
I got the sweet Zeppelin Swan Song tapestry for my wall as a
Either
young
that or
child.
Bob Marley. One of the two.
Exactly right. All right. PravdaFest at Sketchbook on Main Street in Skokie, June 24th, June 25th. In addition to the other stellar Sketchbook beers, there will be a Pravda beer just in time for the festival. Kenn and Rick from Pravda and the service, we can see the service on the Saturday night. Thank you for doing this. Thanks for hanging out at the brewery.
Thanks for having us, James.
And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Sketchbook. Thanks, everybody.